He just wanted a place to crash, but he chose the one room in this house that never stays quiet after midnight. When my friend Mark called me out of the blue and asked if he could crash at my place for a few nights, I didn't think twice. We'd been mates since university, and he was going through a rough patch with his divorce, sleeping in his car near Leeds, looking like he hadn't eaten in days. I told him to come over, stay as long as he needed. The only spare room I had was upstairs, my son Oliver's old room. I hadn't stepped foot in it since that awful October night 3 years ago, when he slipped on the stairs during a blackout and cracked his skull on the banister. He was only 12, one moment laughing at dinner, the next cold, lifeless, bleeding into the hardwood. My wife couldn't handle it. She left 6 months later. I kept the room sealed. I told Mark, "You sure you're okay with the upstairs room? It's a bit old-fashioned." He laughed. "Mate, I just need a bed." That first night, I lay in my own room listening to the creaks above me. Normal sounds, I told myself. Old house floorboards. But around 3 a.m., I heard a loud thud, not random, not accidental, followed by a slow dragging sound. Then, silence. In the morning, Mark looked pale. "Mate, did you say this house was haunted?" I laughed nervously. "No, why?" He said he'd heard a voice, a young boy whispering, "Don't let go." I froze. That's what Oliver said when I tried to carry him down the stairs to the car that night. I brushed it off. Lack of sleep, stress. But the second night, it happened again. Footsteps, whispers, the sound of something bouncing like a ball. I asked Mark if he wanted to move downstairs. He said no, insisted he'd handle it. The next morning, he was silent. He didn't eat, just sat on the sofa, staring at his hands. That night, I stayed up and listened. At 3:11 a.m., I crept up to the room. The door was half open. Mark was asleep, or at least still, and in the far corner, crouched, was a figure, small, pale, curled up in the exact spot where Oliver's bed used to be. I blinked, it was gone. I didn't sleep. In the morning, Mark was gone. No note, no bag, just a window wide open, despite being locked shut for years. I tried calling him, no answer. Days passed. I filed a missing person report. Weeks later, police found Mark's car submerged in a reservoir 20 miles away. No signs of foul play. No sign he even drove there. I lost it. I went back into the room, tore up the floorboards, found a child's drawing beneath a sketch of Mark, standing in the corner of the room, with "Stay" written in red crayon across the wall. My heart stopped. I started seeing Oliver. Reflections, corners of mirrors, toys moving. His voice, always that voice. "Don't let go." Then one night, I found myself standing at the top of the stairs, swaying, as if something was pulling me back into that moment. I snapped out of it just before I slipped. Since then, I've boarded up the room, nailed it shut, told the council I rent a one-bedroom flat. But sometimes, when it's quiet, I still hear a bouncing ball up there. And I wonder if Mark ever made it out, or if he's still stuck in that room, whispering to the next unlucky soul. Because grief doesn't always haunt you with memory. Sometimes, it builds a room and waits.